Hello, welcome to MacGyver, our wind design challenge for students in grades 3 through 6. We are excited to kick off another school year with you. In this video, we will explain the curriculum, materials, calendar, and introduce you to our newest platform, Canvas. OEP has developed a 4-day unit plan to help guide you in using all the resources in your wind design challenges. We encourage you to adapt this in any way to meet the needs of your classroom. We're going to go over some materials that are supplied. You'll have a pool noodle, glue gun, bamboo skewers, dowel rod, plastic straw, string, cup, and wooden spool. OEP will not supply a box fan or any type of fan, materials for the blades, pennies, meter stick, tape, scissors, or hole punch. As you prepare for the MacGyver Wind Lift Challenge, you might want to pre-cut pool noodles into 1-inch sections. Pre-cut the student's string in 0.6 meters or 60 centimeters. You also want to pre-cut the different lengths of bamboo skewers. And finally, you might want to organize materials into a bin for each group. Now we're going to show you how you can incorporate the Wind Lift Challenge into your classroom with some tips and tricks.
Hi teachers and students, this is Amanda with the Ohio Energy Project. Thank you for participating in the MacGyver Wind Lift Challenge. In this video, we are going to talk through the different supplies that every student will need to build their wind lift, and then we're going to actually build the lift, and we'll cover some tips and tricks for the building process. First, we're going to go over the materials that you will have in your kit that every student will need to build their wind lift. So you're going to receive bamboo sticks, you will receive string, a straw, a dowel rod, a spool, and then you will have a cup as well as a glue gun, and then a pool noodle, which you will need to cut into 1-inch segments. So you will need to do some pre-cutting first. Cut your pool noodle into 1-inch segments. Your string, you're going to need to cut into 60 centimeter segments or 0.6 meters if you're going to do calculations at the end. Your bamboo sticks, you can cut these if you would like to make them different sizes for your students. And then you will need to hole punch into your cup in order to attach this to your wind lift. There are also some supplies that you will not be receiving, but you will need. So you will need scissors, and then in order to create the blades, your students will need really any supplies that works. So that could be paper, cardstock, you could use paper plates, plastic from a plastic bottle, and then some tape. Additional supplies that you will need that is not included in your kit would be a fan, and a box fan would work best. And then you will need pennies as well. I have Rosie here with me who's going to help demonstrate how the students will be setting up their wind lift. So the first thing you'll need to do is take your pool noodle and attach the dowel rod. You're going to probably want to add a little bit of hot glue around the edge on the inside, just to ensure that the dowel rod stays in place and it's not moving around. The next thing you're going to do is take your straw and add it to the dowel rod, and that is your drivetrain. The next thing is you're going to take your plastic cup, add a hole using a hole punch, and then Rosie is going to attach the string on one end. So you'll tie it inside the cup, and then the other end of the string is going to be attached to the spool. And then you'll probably want to add some tape onto the end of the spool to attach the string. That way it's not moving around and falling apart. One more. the last thing is you're going to attach the spool to the dowel rod. So now Rosie is going to get to actually do some work to create her wind lift. This is where you're going to introduce the engineering design process to your students. So she needs to decide how many blades she wants to create. She also needs to decide their size and shape, and then what material she wants to create them out of. So we're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we're going to do our first test. Welcome back. Rosie is going to explain a little bit how she created her wind lift and what her design process was. Okay, so I chose cardstock for my material. I chose to do 5 blades, and then I chose this shape because I thought it would be pretty aerodynamic for the wind to go through. So one more time, I'm going to just explain how the wind lift should look. You should have your hub, which is the pool noodle in the middle, your drive train attached, your blades, and then you should have your lift attached to the end. So we're going to do our first test without any weight inside the cup. So we're going to turn the fan on and we'll see what happens. So now we're going to do our second trial. For this one, we're going to add 10 pennies to the cup. You also want to make sure that the fans are on the highest speed setting. And then a troubleshooting tip to kind of help, as the cup is being lifted, you want to make sure that the string stays moving around the spool. It's easy for it to get off track and fall onto the dowel, so just have your students watch that as it's going. So now I'm going to add the pennies, and we're going to turn on the fan. So we completed 2 trials with our wind lift. With your students, you could add more pennies. You could have them add in 5 to 10 increments. You could go up to as much as you would like, up to 200 pennies. As your students are completing their trials, something that you could have them do is take some time in between their trials to make changes to their wind lift. So, for example, they can add or take away any of their blades. You could have them change the pitch of their blade. So that just means the way that it sits or the angle. You could have them change the material. So there are a lot of things that they can do to adjust their wind lift in between their trials. Additionally, you will want to have your students create a hypothesis to decide what they think is going to happen when they make their changes. Thank you so much for participating in the MacGyver Wind Lift Challenge. We look forward to working with you this school year.
Every teacher will have access to our materials on Canvas. The following slides will show you a preview of where you can find the resources for the MacGyver Wind Lift Challenge. Thank you so much. For any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much. For any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out.